Hello and welcome back to the CrossFit Harrow podcast, episode number 63. Today we have one of the original crew members of CrossFit Harrow from 2015, and in fact I think he may be the longest serving member currently, and in terms of statistics, or not much of a stat, kind of, he would be now the first person to join CrossFit Harrow because the first two are no longer here. Vivek, OG of CrossFit Harrow, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
I know why you came to CrossFit Harrow. I have a thing in my head from a long, long time ago, but maybe it's different from why you did come to CrossFit Harrow. That's the first question. What brought you here?
Well, I was a member of another box, and then I bumped into you.
That's the exact same story I have in my head.
I bumped into you, which was just a great coincidence, and you mentioned that you were going to start a box in Harrow, and I thought, well, that's perfect.
Yeah, because I don't know what I was doing in Harrow that day.
You were buying some trainers.
Was I?
No, you were coming. You were with.
That wouldn't surprise me though.
You were with the other. Yeah.
I went into and I was running out and I bumped into you, and after, because obviously, so for those of you that don't know, me and Vivek actually met probably 2014? About that, in another CrossFit gym, and obviously when I had parted and started my own stuff as in here, we never really kept in contact through phone number or anything, but we bumped into each other at Harrow. And I remember saying, you was like, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm opening a box in Harrow. He's like, it was down the road. He's like, what, in Harrow? I was like, yeah, but I need a website. He's like, I'll do it for you. and that's how it started.
Yeah.
So why CrossFit for you? Why did you choose, not necessarily CrossFit Harrow, just in general, like why did you start the choice from transferring to what you were doing in the past to CrossFit?
Yeah, so I was going to the gym and, just fitness first at the time. I don't know if they're still there actually, and I just found it quite boring actually. I think it was the main thing it was very solitude, going on my own, having to sort of motivate myself, plan what I was going to do, and half the time I think I was just sitting there and sitting there wondering what should I do next. And then
similar to now.
yeah. And then I got a coach, and he started showing me, and he was a coach at Fitness First, and he started showing me some new things, which were like more bodyweight things around helping me do some pull-ups and dips, and I thought, well, this is interesting. And then he created a little workout for me at the time, and he said, well, you can do more of this. There's CrossFit.
Oh, so he wasn't
CrossFit. He was a coach, a personal trainer, but he was leaving Fitness First. Okay. And he recommended CrossFit. So I said, yeah, well, that's interesting. So I went there, and at the time there wasn't many around. So I went to the closest one to me was actually one in Bethnal Green, and
which is still there, I think. Yeah.
Which is still there, I think. Yeah, and I went there for a few sessions, which was traveling from Harrow which worked out for me quite well because I could go do some work on a one train journey there, and I could do some work on a train.
When you were working full time.
Well, yeah.
We'll get onto that.
Yeah. And so then, I'd go in the morning, come back just straight away, and be home for sort of, 7:30, or 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock's better be home and start working. But at the time, I think I really enjoyed it. It was
something new for you.
It was something new, and it was just dynamic, and it was interesting because every day you go there, something new happening.
What age were you started with CrossFit? What age were you started CrossFit?
At the time, I think it was 37, 38.
Okay. And then from then to like now, what have you seen change within like you yourself? Because obviously there's a lot of things that you have changed in your life that would impact the outcome. What do you think? What's changed for you?
Well, I was a smoker.
When you first started, you were smoking?
Yeah, I think I was actually still smoking for about, I think even after about 2 years of being a member, I was actually a smoker. And so I think...
Quite regularly?
I was a heavy smoker, yeah. I was quite a 20-a-day smoker. So I think 2 years after I started, I stopped. But I think that was one of the big... But I think mainly around just just moving around quicker, more energy. I think one of the motivations was also having my son was born and wanting to sort of have a bit more energy to play with him and just do a few more things with him.
That's a very good reason to.
Yeah, that was a big motivating factor actually. And so, but just the differences that have changed a bit at the time. There was box jumps was one of the most interesting ones because at the time it was just doing a small jump. On a couple of plates, I found actually, a couple of plates stacked up on.
That's actually very fascinating because people would assume that a male would be very comfortable in jumping on a 20 or 24 inch box, but actually you've really scaled that back and started from the beginning and started jumping up on one of the plates.
I'd probably say it was probably about four plates, four 20 kilo plates. I'd say it was probably I started there.
But that's a positive thing. That it's just building from the bottom and growing that way. So smoking 2 years into doing CrossFit.
And then it was just it was clearly having an impact because the endurance of running. I wasn't doing it a lot those days anyway, so I'd go maybe twice a week. But I could notice that the strength was increasing, but certainly my endurance wasn't at all. So I after 1.5 years, 2 years, I stopped.
Was that hard?
Yeah, smoking was probably because I was a smoker since the age of about 13, so it was quite hard, I think.
Starting young.
Yeah.
Because that can be quite a tough decision to stick. Well, not necessarily a tough decision to make, but a very tough decision to stick to. Cutting it out completely. Did you phase it out? Did you just stop one day and that was it?
Yeah, I just stopped one day. Yeah, I mean, I tried a lot of times over the years, but I could never do it. So I tried.
And I guess with the birth of your son, that was more.
Yeah.
So I know that you changed a lot of in terms of lifestyle, what you eat over the last couple of years. I know we have a lot of jokes about them, but can you give us a bit of an insight into how you used to eat through the beginning and the last couple of things or the few things that you've changed over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so certainly I think early days I was I used to have a lot of meat, protein. I was heavy on protein, heavy on chicken, eggs, a few eggs. But I think what I found was that whilst I certainly I built up a lot of strength, but I found especially as soon as I turned over 40, I think where I was eating still a lot of meat, I found that it was just going on my belly.
Men tend to hold it more around their stomach anyway.
Yeah. So, and then what I found was that after after a while, I thought, my energy levels were low. So I would usually, I train in the morning and then I would usually do the school run and I would train, drop my kids, they go to school about 5-6 miles away. And then I would, on the way back, I'd be so tired, I'd actually stop. There was a car park, sort of Harrow View, the car park in Harrow View. I would actually have to stop and have a rest for about 20 minutes in the car because I would be exhausted because I'd train here, then I'd have chicken or some fish after training straight away or some eggs, and I'd be so tired after it.
Do you feel that you might have been, although you feel like you were getting the right protein, did you feel like you were under eating? If you look back now, do you think you were eating enough?
Those days,
it's quite worrying to think that you've woken up, you've gone training, you've taken your kids to school, and in the space of that 2-3 hours, you're having to pull over and take a nap because you're exhausted.
I think it was the breaking down of the meats was what was making me tired.
Okay.
Yeah, I found that because as soon as I stopped, I found that my energy levels suddenly increased.
You weren't pulling over the side on the side of the road. So you cut that out. You cut meat out.
Yeah,
completely. How long have you done that now?
It's been 2.5 years now. I've been completely vegan.
And what's the biggest change that you've
I think energy levels.
Yeah,
certainly energy. So my day usually starts at 4:00,
which is mental. You get up at 4.
Yeah, at 4:00, and I do. But I'm into also some yoga, some meditation. I'm very much into mindfulness, and so. That having that balance is quite important to me.
Have you always done that?
That's been there for about, I think, 5 years now. 5 years, 5, maybe 6. But that's been helping me massively in terms of, because my work is also...
Yeah, just in other aspects of life.
In other aspects, not just obviously, well-being, just fitness, but also work-wise and just, relationships, all of it helps.
Have you always been that early bird? Always 4 o'clock?
I think my as you know, I've been as in business. I own a business too. So therefore, and when you have a business, obviously, as you probably know, you're self motivated to do the
sleep
things.
Can be quite hard too, like for everyone, but generally, it's kind of big assumption to make. But not to say that people who run their own business don't get as much sleep, but you're constantly ticking over. You're constantly thinking of new things constantly in your brain, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So the question I want to ask, I guess, is that there's that side, but then equally on the other side is like, well, because you're struggling, let's say, to sleep. You might have struggled in the past to sleep. I'm assuming here that would you not want to bank those hours of sleep? I admire you getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I could. That's tough. Do you think that you would need that sleep, or you're like? Have you? I'm
in bed by about 9:30.
Okay.
9:30, 10 o'clock. So I'm getting 6-7 hours. 6 hours, which is fine for me. 6.5 hours. I feel you might be a little bit tired when you wake up, but I don't need to have a nap. During
the day or anything.
During the day, yeah.
That's interesting. What would your morning look like then if you're getting up at 4? Well, how would that plan out?
So I'd get dressed, and then I'd initially do sort of.
Well, if you don't, that's up to you.
So at the moment it's changed a bit, but what I do, so up at 4 o'clock, and I'll do sort of meditation. I'll do some yoga, and I'm quite into yoga at the moment. So I'm doing not yoga. I'm not doing yoga more for. Whilst I do some of that too, which is more for stretching and health, but I also yoga, much more deeper yoga, which is more about mental well-being, and it's all about
like zoning out from it.
Probably, it's like, I guess you could probably say it's
holistic
yoga in a way whereby it uses a lot more meditation. So involved. So only 5-10% of it is probably more on the sort of stretching. The rest of it is more sort of
digging deep into.
It's more like unity. So unifying the breath, the in it. You've got the different types of energies around your body, and I'm still learning this, so I don't know a lot about it. But it's still, I'm quite into that at the moment.
Okay. And how long does that last? Is that 7 days a week?
It's about an hour. I probably do. I try to, but at least 5-6 days.
Do you feel different on the days that you don't do it?
Yeah, definitely. Based on, and there are obviously days when I'll oversleep or whatever, and I don't have time. If I get up at 5 o'clock, I won't have time, or I might just do a 10-minute meditation. But 10-minute meditation still can work. But if I don't do anything, then my whole day will be disrupted, and usually I'd have a lot more anxiety throughout the day.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Well, because your demands of work, your work demands are quite high, right? You started a business quite a long time ago now.
Business nearly 20 years now.
Wow.
So yeah, and
you would have seen a lot of goods, bads, and things in the way.
Yeah, so now we've grown quite a lot. We've got about 100 people now in the company.
And just for viewers, what business is it that you're in?
Software. We build software. So we have a specific type of software which we sell to companies that sell window shadings, flooring, made-to-measure products. We sell it's like a CRM
management system.
Yeah, we supply that. So
and what made you go for that? What was your?
That was I worked for. So we used to live in Italy actually, and then I used to. We came back temporarily for a while, and I got a job working for this other company. And after 3 months, he didn't pay me my salary, so I was so annoyed. I went and competed against him. But
really,
yeah, that's how it started. But I've been in business all my life since the age of since in school, doing something or the other.
Doing things at school to make money and
selling Jaffa cakes and
been there,
and I used to sell cars. Cars was a big thing for me. I had a few other sort of web design companies that I had, which didn't really work out. But
tell me about the cars that you used to buy and sell.
There were second-hand cars. Obviously, second-hand. They were like at the times I used to buy the low, the cheaper cars. So you'd buy them sort of £500, £1,000, £1,500 cars. And
what was this in the late 80s?
This was it. So I would have been about 18, 19 at the time. So I was about. So this would have been. This would have been early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah, and then you just get a car.
Fix
it up a little bit and set it at night time when I can't sit properly. Yeah, so I did that for a while, which is good. But then
that must have taught you quite a lot of lessons in terms of like selling.
Yeah, so selling is my thing, really. Yeah, selling is my thing. But selling IT, I'm not a computer guy. I don't really have much.
Which is mad because you have a software company.
I have a software company, but I don't know. I'm not a programmer. I mean, business is my thing. It's kind of like in our sort of DNA, our families and stuff like that, all business people.
Yeah. So, at what point did you decide that this software thing was it just purely the fact that you didn't get your 3 months salary and you thought, right, fuck this?
Yeah, I mean, I never could work for anyone anyway, so I needed some. We were living in Italy, and I didn't have any. We ran out of money, and I thought, well, let me just because I set up a web design company, but I was quite hard to make money in Italy at the time.
Well, just in general on the web, because like the web was new then as well, wasn't it?
It was new. This was basically at the time. This was at the time the bubble had burst, and then we were just starting to see some traction again. So like Amazon at the time we were living in Italy, we were buying books from Amazon, and at the time
there's probably that image on the internet where Jeff Bezos is in that room. It's probably the same time.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He's got like Amazon spray painted or written on the wall or something.
Yeah,
seen it?
Well, I haven't seen that, but I think he was about 27 years, I think, Amazon at the time. So this is about, but yeah, certainly at the time the web was quite new. People were just, people were getting websites. E-commerce was starting to take some traction. People were getting more confident with purchasing online. So it was early days, but I was selling sort of e-learning solutions because I was selling in Italy, but I couldn't speak Italian, so therefore I had to.
It's hard to sell.
It was a hard sell. Yeah, I made a little bit of money, but it wasn't enough to justify staying out there. So when I came back here, I got this. I needed some money quickly, so I got this job, and then that didn't work out. And then I could see the potential, and then from that point, I developed.
That was probably a blessing in disguise. That job didn't work out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Had that worked out, you might not have opened your own business.
Yeah.
So 20 years, you would have faced a lot of challenges. Nothing like, well, you might have suffered similar to the COVID situation. Did that impact at all?
We grew past 2 years. We've grown 50% actually. Wow. So 2 years we've grown.
Because you're already online too. That's what your business is. Online.
Yeah. I think what's happening I don't know about everyone in computers, but certainly in systems whereby people they need to streamline more, cut costs, and look at systems more. So I think we've been in the right position at the time to purchase. So we've done quite well over COVID. Although forecast this year still 20%, 25% growth, but not as much, but still it's heading, it's still growth, and it's still all going.
Yeah, I guess it opens a few, it's not a great thing that's happened, but it's opened a lot of doors for a lot of businesses to grow. Yeah, right, and yours being one of them as well.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you balance, because obviously a lot of your stuff is also on another side of the world, right?
Yeah, so I've got offices now in Australia. We just opened one in the US, and in India is where our main hub is. We've got about 100 people out in India that do development, service, customer service. Even some of the sales stuff is also done out there too.
Wow, that's a big responsibility that comes with it, right? 100 people.
Yeah, well, it comes with responsibility, but it's also having good managers. I think that's where I've been quite lucky at now. So there's good. We've got very good managers right now, which take care, and I've been fortunate enough to be in a position whereby, the managers are doing a good job. So it leaves me with a lot of time.
Are you still actively involved in that hiring process, or are they set in that position? You obviously being on the other side of the world, a lot of your communication would be via email and FaceTime or Zooms and stuff like that already, right? Yeah.
So in terms of the employment, if someone senior getting involved, then I will be involved in the interview process. Usually, I'm sort of the third interview. Last interview, I'll be involved in it, but most of the time I'm not involved. So most of the day-to-day running now I'm not involved. It's had to be like that because previously in the early days, I was managing a company from here, which is very, very difficult.
Wearing all these hats.
Yeah, it's very, very hard doing the sales, support, even software testing and stuff like that, which was quite challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine. And over the last 20 years, you've just been scaling and slowly growing, slowly just adding and adding and adding, which is giving you that time back.
Yep.
What do you do with your time?
Well, at the moment I'm here. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. At the moment, what's happening? I'm spending a lot of time with so I'm making some real high level decisions, which is quite good. Whereas previously I'm getting bogged down with the day-to-day admin stuff, not admin, but more in terms of being reactive to what goes on. A problem, dealing with day-to-day problems, which I'm not. Problems will obviously always constantly arise, but what it's enabled me to do, and through sort of being able to, and I think certainly where the meditations that help quite a lot, and certainly obviously training over here, where it's enabled me to be a lot calmer and certainly a lot more proactive and less reactive. So when decision makings now are very sort of I could make. Like today, I had a meeting today, and I made a decision around how best to sort of manage some teams with one of the managers, and we'll one decision and the whole and we'll change everything in the company. So there's a lot of high level decision making now. So whilst it may not be in terms of just hours put in there, but there's a lot of more high.
The impact is higher.
The impact is much higher. Yeah.
What was the goal for you when you opened business 20 years ago? What did you want from it?
I just always loved business. I think it's always being, it's just business is just in my, in my blood. Yeah. So it's just, at the time, obviously you want to make money, but money is obviously a big thing. But at the same time, I think it's probably more about just
cliche of the journey.
The journey, and just the decision making, being able to just do what you want at any point in time, and that I like a lot, because if I want to change something, I can do that straight away. I'm not answerable to anyone.
And sometimes people think that like change isn't good, like it's got to be a certain way because this person says so, or like from my experience working for someone where there's certain rules that you can't change something because like it's written this way, but actually by it not being written that way would help that individual. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice to have that, like, I can change it because I know it's going to benefit that person.
Yeah.
It's quite powerful.
Yeah. So you're saying what to make.
So some people are very resistant to that change. Like, oh no, the rules say this, I can't do it. It's something I can't do. But actually, like, you'll be able to help.
No, exactly, and that's quite a good point, because I think sometimes, and I don't do this to make friends. And at the same time, you make decisions what's in the best interest of the company, and not even in the best interest of me personally, but at the end of the day, I work for the company too, as do everyone else. So you make decisions what's in the best interest of the company, and we're constantly changing. I mean, all the time, and we're very sort of dynamic. And the thing is, staff, software, especially the developers, I'll say one day, well, let's do it like this, and then all of a sudden the next day something else is shifted, or I think of a new idea, and I'll just change the whole thing, and they'll just go, oh mate, but you're just giving us.
But actually, it benefits everyone.
It benefits everyone.
Will be better. The service will be better.
Yeah. So they're constantly complaining, but I think making decisions, you're not necessarily, you do things not necessarily for your own benefit. Now you do it what's in the right interest. I mean, same with the kids. It's not because the kids want me to basically turn off, leave their phone on all night, and I've got the family link so I can monitor and I can turn it off at a certain time. I said, well, I don't really care, to be honest. You can do what you want, but the fact is, it's not good for your brain to be playing it until the middle of the night, and on your phone. So I put the family link on, and I don't do it for my benefit. You do it for what's in the best interest of everyone else.
Kids have got to, like, I guess, run. What we did, we found out the hard way, I guess, when we were younger. Like, you got told not to do something, but you wanted to do it. You hurt yourself, and then you don't do it again.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, but that's also quite important, because I think allowing them to make mistakes and allowing staff or allowing people to make mistakes. And I think, I look back on things, training or health or anything. It's constantly about making mistakes, and the more mistakes you make, the better it is. The better it is, because you learn from them. As
well as people not liking like change, they're almost like frightened to get things wrong, like, and not succeed. But actually, it's one of the best things for you to do is fail repeatedly.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that you have in your line of work that something didn't work, and like we said before, you've changed it or failed at something, and it taught you a lot of lessons and how to change it for the next time.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, wanting to open that 20 years ago, and you've got to a position now where you've got your time back, right? All that you're still actively working, obviously, or maybe not as hard as you were in the first early years, but getting your time back to be able to experience the things that you want to do.
Yeah, um, it's interesting to see what are the things I want to do, but and because I don't know actually.
You've got all the time and you don't know.
Yeah, and I was thinking, well, what do I really want to do? And actually, you know, when you hear people say, "Well, play golf" and stuff like that, I don't really want to play golf. I'm sure it's a good. I've played a few times, but I'm not really into it. But it's like, what are the things that I really enjoy doing? And I think at the moment is I don't really know, but I do like learning and I like growing, and I think and still just still, even though I've got a bit more time, I still wake up early and just do. So I think every day. I think probably more important than having these goals in life now is living each day sort of consciously and living each day and
Purposely.
and just being present to whatever goes on around. I mean, today, I went for a walk in the park, and you look around the park, and I was looking around, and you think, what a most amazing day it is today. You hearing
just appreciating,
and really, just
which gets bypassed, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you're busy, you just don't see the things, of what's important.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. I think until you want to know about it, like you've actively gone out and gone that walk, you started to appreciate those small things. It would have gone past me. Like I wouldn't have. You'd just be walking in the park. I'd take it to walk in the park, but that's a very interesting point to appreciate the things.
Yeah, it's so great. And hearing just the kids playing and then
water,
little things, the leaves blowing, and every day you go there, the trees just look different, and it's just
colourful as well.
Colourful, yeah.
Especially like with the last year, 2 years, and maybe for you quite a few years with working online, just constantly looking at the same thing all over, like every day looking at that screen.
Yeah,
nice to a different environment.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time family with free time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's quite a big part of my so we spend a lot of time. I think I'm fortunate enough because I work from home too. Yeah. So
have you always done that?
There was a time we had an office. I had an office only for about, I think, a year, 6 months, a year or something like that. And then occasionally I go to India, although during lockdown I've not been able to, but usually a couple of times.
I don't think you'll be able to go for a long time.
Yeah, certainly this year won't be able to go, but usually a couple of times a minute. But even when I go, I just go for a few days and I'll come straight back. And occasionally I have to travel to Australia. But I've got to go to the US next couple of months if the lockdown permits.
Can I come to the US?
Yeah, you can come. I mean,
How do you switch off?
Switch off?
Yeah. How do you just take time back?
I think it's all through the daily practice of, and it's just coming back to the present moment, because you can switch off any time and it really just comes back to the breath. And I think it's having a regular, now it's a bit more of a habit. So, like I could be, before I would set like an alarm of like a chime every hour to just take a couple of deep breaths. One, like just stop everything and take a couple of deep breaths. That would really help. Now it comes a bit more of a little bit more of a habit. So I could be in a conversation and I'll just, just take a break, or just focus on one breath and then go on. It just stops you from getting
overwhelmed.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I do get stressed out and things do happen, but I think I'm able to, and the stresses and the problems will consistently happen. But it's just my ability to deal with them now is a lot calmer.
That was actually my next question of how you deal with stress.
Yeah, well, I guess the problems will always happen. Like they're always going to be there. And there's countless issues that are happening just this morning. But it's like my ability to deal with them is just much better, and that's all through sort of the meditation, mindfulness, and highly recommend it to anyone. Not to anyone, but to everyone.
Yeah. To start that, any once a week?
I think it should be a daily practice. Thing. I think, as in with CrossFit or any exercise or any practice, or it's probably more about consistency rather than actually, rather than large.
How much you do?
Yeah, rather than how much. So I think even if it was 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day, I think would have quite a profound impact on anyone's life.
But so then obviously, last 20 years of work, your job as such, it's not 9 to 5, I would imagine. It's as and when. You would have probably set your times now, but very, from the beginning, I know that when starting here, work was every day, all day. How have you managed training and like, because obviously, you know, as well as your mental health, you're saying the well-being that you do in the meditation, physical health is also important too.
100%. I mean, it's all part and parcel, because I think, you know, without the body feeling
Physically fit.
physically strong, and you know, you could be sitting there trying to do meditation, but you feel uncomfortable, and you feel like, well, you know, you just don't feel, or as if, you know, if you've ever, I'm sure it's happened where you may have not practiced, you've not trained for a week or a couple of weeks, and then you feel like you just don't feel right. You
feel sluggish, feel heavy,
so,
unfit.
So it's all part of the, you know, it's all completely related to the mind, body, you know, soul, all of it.
And like with regards to training now, how has your approach been different? Obviously, you know, you're not 21 anymore. I know that we are often spoken about demands of training and stuff. What are you doing, or how do you deal with that?
You know, and now I think it's gone way past the point of just trying to lift as much as I can. You know, not that I can't lift much, but I can't, but even trying to anyway.
But we did discuss that too with the change in diet as well, didn't we?
Yeah, you know, so I tried to basically go, you know, eat more vegan and more, but I just found that, you know, I mean, I love, you know, I think when I used to train, let's say a few years ago, I preferred like the 7-minute WODs, 10 minutes, maximum 15. Now I really enjoy the 20, 30 minute, even 45 minutes. Right. Yeah, I much so more like
lower intensity, long
duration. I kind of enjoy them a lot, but I think the way what I try and do is I try and bring some sort of mindfulness into my practice now. And it's about, and I think even you coaches also mentioned it too. It's like focus on the breathing whilst doing it, and I try and do that a lot, which takes you away from the goal. I'm not too bothered about the goal anymore.
Of finishing,
or finishing.
Like weight.
Yeah, I'm more focused on that, and more on that process of you know, technique is quite important, but the breathing, the how present I am, and I focus. So it's more about the process rather than the goal now. So whether the goal will come on, and you know, will always come on how will I practice. So
yeah, we do often get quite, and the more we do these podcasts, people do say like they're almost coming away from like the weight element of what's on there and things like that, and more about like whether they feel happy doing something, whether they're just purely, you know, coming away from the weight, the strength, what I was in the past, and just being here, just enjoying themselves.
Yeah. I think, certainly. And, you know, I mean, I love seeing everyone in the morning, having a bit of banter, just talking to people, you know, and obviously I don't get that at home either because I'm working from home. So this is a major part of it's a real important
the interaction with people is great.
That
you're here is greater.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a really important part of my life, just generally. You know?
We've had some crackers at 6 o'clock in the morning over the few years.
Yeah.
What's been a very pivotal moment in your life, whether it be personal or training? Like, what's, you know, something that's really kind of like gone boom and something's changed?
I think it was when I turned 40. Actually.
Yeah.
I just started aching all of a sudden, literally the day after I turned...
Veganism, mate, I'm telling you.
But I wasn't vegan at it. I just turned 40 and it was literally, and I think it must have to do with some sort of, it's got to be some...
hormonal change,
Well, mentally I must have thought, okay, I'm old now. But I just found I just started hurting. My injuries just started going up, and I just started thinking, you know what, at the time I just...
What was your training volume then? How often would you train? 5-6 times a week?
I would say 4 or 5 times a week is pretty.
And after that kind of pivotal moment, or even now, how many times a week would you say that you're getting in?
Now I'm probably training, so 3 or probably 3 times, maybe 4 times.
But the intensity is very different.
Intensity is different, but I also do some running.
Do you? Okay.
Yes, I mean I just do some. I just started doing some running. I've got a race I'm doing for
Sunday.
I mean, a couple of months. I just I've been doing a little bit once a week, maybe twice a week maximum. But
so is that a new thing that you've set yourself?
Yeah, well, I've just my son's school. They're doing it's a race. It's I think they're doing for charity, and it's actually run from Eros in Piccadilly Circus,
okay,
right to his school in Aldenham, which is 15 miles. So I'm training for that at the moment.
Just only running, just one thing, just running, no biking.
No, just to run. So 15 miles from the morning. It's like they start at 5 in the morning, meet at EOS, and it's going running to sort of basically near Watford. So it's just so I'm training for that at the moment. But yeah, and a little bit of swimming. I've started swimming lessons too.
Yeah,
I can swim, but it's just getting that technique right. You know?
Swimming's actually one of the most underrated. Like the physical benefits of swimming is so good for you, but also one of the hardest things to do. And just by changing something in terms of how you like your stroke or how you can swim, it makes a massive impact to how you glide through the water. Yeah,
definitely. I think, again, it's the breathing. If you get the breathing right, I find, where I've been doing training for a while, I feel okay with the arms. I don't get too fatigued, but it's just the breathing. I think
it's the hardest. It's the
hardest thing. Yeah, definitely.
The hardest part. So this run that you're doing, when is it?
2nd July. So that's my birthday too.
Oh right.
So I won't be here on my birthday.
We'll have to put on your birthday and the birthday workout the next day. So 2nd July. So you're getting out once or twice a week now for the run?
I'm training. Yeah. So I trained yesterday.
And that's probably why you enjoy the longer workouts now.
Yeah. Yeah, again,
suited to the goal that you've got coming up.
Again, exactly. And again, the running is more about, it's about the, just focusing on the breathing. I started trying to listen to a bit of music when I was doing it, but I found it just, it's kind of, I found it, for me anyway, it's a bit of a distraction. I found just focusing on the breathing.
I've heard that quite regularly though, that people find music's quite distracting for them. They can't hear their breath.
Yeah.
And that's how they use to measure or gauge how hard or fast they're running. They would use that.
Exactly. And it's also quite nice to run out, especially now the weather's so beautiful, to go outside and just run and just see different things, different smells.
Absorb being in that moment.
Yeah, and exactly. So
is your son running with you or just you?
Just me.
Just you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's have you ever done anything like that before?
I did half marathon once.
Have you?
Yeah. Did half marathon once, and that was hell.
What age were you then?
That was I was here. I think it was.
Oh, did you do the Harrow half marathon?
Yeah, Harrow half marathon. Yeah. That was 3 years ago, I think it was, and that was. I think prior to that, the longest I'd run was 5K. So I went from 5K to half marathon, and that was a killer. I mean, that killed me. Yeah. So I thought this time I'm going to try and practice a little bit.
Because people do. I mean. We often say to people that, if you only run, you're only going to get better at running. Same as weightlifting. If you only do weightlifting, you only get better at weightlifting. But actually, it's quite important you probably find over the next couple of weeks that you'll find some of the workouts in here a little bit easier than maybe you would normally because you're building that aerobic base. And it'd be very interesting to see how you feel post-run doing the workouts because of that improved aerobic, let's say, capacity. Your lungs opening up a lot more and being able to breathe in and breathe out a lot more. Would you consider doing another half marathon or full marathon?
Yeah, I think it's I probably would. I think full marathon. I'd probably give it a go. You've got to do it once, isn't it? Really, in your lifetime? No, not for you.
Not sure. My view is that I think it's so detrimental to your there's people that do it and they're fine, but I think it takes such a big impact. It has such a big impact on your body, like your joints, because you are pounding the pavement for 12 weeks out. You'll be clocking up you'll end up doing sometimes 16, 18 miles within a week. It's a lot. I think it's a lot of running. I think it's a lot. I don't think I'd ever want to do one. I used to when I was younger. I used to think one thing, like I said, same as you'd have to do it once. But the older I'm getting and the wiser I think I'm getting, I think I'd opt out doing one.
But yeah, I do worry about what you're saying, and I do worry about the knees, the joints, because
also it changes your body shape and your.
Does it?
Yeah, because your body then gets used to storing energy and fueling it for the run. Your body shape will change. Obviously, there's an element of weight loss because you're running so many miles. I'm not saying that I've heard that completely wrong because people listen to this and think, running is the best fucking thing for weight loss. It's not. But just naturally, because you're exerting so much energy, clocking up those miles, your body shape changes. People tend to change their body shape quite a lot. And that's why you see runners are generally very tall and thin in terms of they don't hold a lot of lean muscle mass. So there's that to consider. But if that's what people want to do, that's what they want to do. I can't say that I'll be doing it anytime soon. But London Marathon, have you ever applied? Would you put your name down?
I think I've tried to. I put it down there, and I think it's never. For me, it's always. I mean, certainly more recently, anyway. The goal is not. It's to do it, but again, it's to do it. It's just to take on a challenge, and that's what I like doing. But you're probably right in terms of muscle mass and stuff like that. But I think I like the fact of just of just doing something new. In fact, I was going to. One of the other things is to do the channel, swim the channel, and that's why I was actually
take out these lessons.
That's why I started taking swimming lessons. So we were going to do me and another guy. We were trying to do a channel, but it's just to do something.
That's a big challenge.
I don't know if I'll ever do it because right now I can just about sort of I can do
200 meters.
Yeah.
200 meters of swim pool is exceptionally hard. It's very, very hard. But it's good that you're starting from scratch. You learn the breathing. Swimming will. I'm assuming that swimming training will involve using paddles or the floats or whatever, and the buoys or whatever. Don't know what it's called. Not buoys in that sense. I hope that went a little bit wrong. But the things that you place in between your leg, so that you can squeeze your legs together and focus on the stroke of your.
Yeah. We're doing all that. Yeah.
And it's good starting from basics.
Yeah.
As an adult, it's also hard as an adult to be I have to start from scratch. I should have learned this as a kid. Did you learn how to swim as a kid?
Yeah, but I'm not a great swimmer anyway. But I mean, even now I'm still not that great. But the thing is, and I think in mindfulness they talk a lot. They come from the context of the beginner's mind. So whatever you're doing is come from the context of you as if you're a beginner, and then if you come from that context, then there's so much to learn. If you come from this, then I know so much.
We also tend to put that when we put our own answer on something before we even ask the question. So it's good that I think we should, as humans, I think we should be more open to that. Yeah,
because there's always so many more things to learn, and things are changing so quickly too that even if we think it, in a few weeks down the line, that things would have changed and there's more to learn.
That's probably quite apparent within your work as well, because systems and things are being changed and updated all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so important. You constantly have to look at what works. We might have something that works today, and then in a few weeks' time it just doesn't work, and we have to scrap it because it's. And I think successful software companies now, they generally have to be agile like that to remain competitive.
What would you tell your younger self?
Don't drink.
Have you cut that out now? Is that?
I do drink a little bit, but I think it's probably. I say I do drink a bit, and I mean occasionally, but I'm not as much as I used to. But I was never sort of a weekday drinker, but I was probably more of a Friday night drinker, and a Saturday night drinker, but I think I say not just because of health, but because you miss out on so many things, and I think that's probably it. So where. It's probably whilst you might have a good night but it's the days after. So the few days after when you have to get your body back in order, you've lost that the relationships, whatever you might have annoyed someone, which has happened many times before, and then so you're starting again. I would say
put you in a different headspace by doing that. Where you said it makes you miss out on so much.
Yeah,
you can be in such a better headspace.
Yes,
by not. But we are taught that you should, and you should do a lot of it. You should booze. You should do this. You should do that, but miss out on so much. I think that's what we're taught through society. Monday to Friday jobs.
Yeah.
Work Monday to Friday. Spend 8 hours away from your home, away from your family, but then go and spend Friday evening, Saturday. Fucking up your health, living the social life, which to a degree serves its purpose, but I think as humans we kind of always want too much of what we too much of it.
Exactly, and this culture too. I mean, it's so ingrained in society to go to the pub and stuff like that. But I think it's I think I've lost a lot of time. But saying that, it's also because of that. Now I also want to gain that time, and hence why I wake up early and I don't want to miss any more. time now. So it's whilst it's also made me who I am today, and it's also made me more sort of should I say ambitious, or more wanting to go and spend more time doing the things I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And it's enabled me to basically to delegate so many things in my work and put my life in such a way so that I can do the things that I want to do now. So it's kind of works both ways too.
Yeah, I agreed. Okay, so what's the plans for the next like 3 to 6 months? Any plans for the future?
I think certainly. I think for CrossFit, certainly, I just enjoy coming here now. So I don't know. I'd like to have a goal, but I also feel I don't know if I can, how much more I can actually gain, because I'm 46 now. Well, I'm just about to turn 46, and I think, well,
don't look a day over 21.
I feel good though, and I think that's probably I feel good. But I think for goals for CrossFit, I don't know. I would like to live.
But it's a good mindset. Sorry to cut you there. It's a good mindset to have that. Turning 46. Being aware that that pressure is off you to do all those things that you've done, or the things that you might see around you with regards to people wanting to get their numbers up, to be the fittest, for that day. And ultimately for you, it's just about the taking part, enjoying, and being okay with, I'm actually just here to remain as physically fit as I possibly can, and not the expectations that other people might put on me.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think you're absolutely right, and that's probably what it is to remain so how best as I can, because I think when it comes down to how much I can lift, I can't lift nowhere near what I used to. Well, I was never lifting that much because I've always been relatively light, but still, I can't lift, but I can do what I try and do what I do best, and that's it. And so trying to compete and look at other people, I just do what I do best. But I think yoga is starting to increase more and more.
So that's going to be kind of a focus for this.
That's it. Not to say that this will reduce. It just means that I have more time to do more yoga. So I probably including my yoga, my meditation, and CrossFit, it's probably about 2 to 3 hours I'm spending anyway per day in it. But that's only going to increase now. So more 4 or 5 hours probably to do more of what I'm doing now.
And then lastly, any personal goals you have within work, anything within work that you want to achieve, that you want to tick off the list and be like, I've done that, and move from that.
I actually, and I don't mean to say and I don't mean to, I feel quite grateful for what I've got now, and I feel I'm very strong now. So I think I'm okay with money. I'm okay with, even when it comes down to traveling, I feel like, okay, well, I have to go away for business and stuff like that. So I do get to travel, but it's not a big thing for me anymore. I think more, it's just, I think it's more about learning more and more every day. And I think that's all I have a goal for. So every day I just see where it goes, and it might change all of a sudden, but it's just take day to day as it comes now.
Cool. Perfect. Vivek, thank you very much for your time. We are out of time for today.
Sure.
Good to have you. And guys, we'll see you again next week.